To order. We have invocation by our city manager.
Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this day. We thank you for the privilege of either being able to live or work in Henry County, live or work in the city of Locust. We just feel blessed here, and each and every day is a new day for our citizens and for us, Lord. We praise you with all the good weather that you've given us lately. We want to lift up those who've been touched by bad weather across our country, but we've been touched ourselves not too long ago. In this time of Memorial Day coming up, may we choose to remember those who've gone before us, our parents, our grandparents, those who've gone before us to die, defending our freedom to peacefully assemble and to speak our minds, Lord, to the First Amendment, Lord. We just ask you that you lift everybody's heart and just want to remember that in your Memorial Day. Be with the mayor and council as they deliberate items related to the city of Locust Grove. Be with us here for the SPLOST committee. Be with those who are here expressing their freedom to come and peacefully assemble, to ask questions and to express their opinion. For it's your glory that you give this to us. And in all things, we just ask you to forgive us where we fail you. Lift us up each day. And it's in your name we pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance by Mr. Strauss. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda? All those in favor? All those opposed, same right. Can I get a motion to recess our meeting to allow for Henry County SPLOST committee to come up and present? All those in favor? Opposed, same right. Motion carried.
If I can, this is the first one they've actually had jointly in terms of actual meeting. So this is a new territory that we're all in. So we appreciate them coming and kind of having their own meeting, intermeeting. That way we kind of able to get everybody here to deliberate and give good thoughts. Who's coming before you is the SPLOST committee, and they'll be introduced as they go through the deliberations tonight. And then we will continue our presentation on SPLOST 6 as well, and then we'll come back into session. Thank you.
Good evening. At this time, we're going to ask our committee chair, Travis Wines, to call our meeting to order.
All right, good evening, everyone. How's everyone doing? We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Can we get an acceptance of the agenda for today? Motion to approve, second. All in favor? All approved? All opposed? All right, we're going to turn it over to Melissa Robinson, the Henry County Communications Director.
Good evening. My name is Melissa Robinson. I'm with Henry County Government and I'm the Communications Director. And I'm just addressing you briefly to explain who this committee is and what they've been charged to do. And so understand we're talking about SPLOST 6, which is a continuation of the penny sales tax. It's not a new tax, it would be a continuation. The committee is made up of members, each appointed by our district commissioners and then by our county manager. And they have been tasked with holding meetings, getting public input and bringing that back to the commissioners so they can formulate a SPLOST list, because it can't be a referendum unless there's already an approved SPLOST list. So just remember that our committee has worked really hard. They're volunteers. They take their own time to do this, and we're very grateful for them. We're also very grateful for you to be here. It's very important. We want to hear what you have to say. Good or bad, it doesn't matter, but let your voice be heard about that. So without further ado, I'm going to give you back to Bert, and I'm glad you're here. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. So my name is Bert Bivens. I'm the Assistant Director for the SPLOST Department. And I want to start off by thanking City Manager Tim Young for allowing us to be here and use the facility. We appreciate it. I want to acknowledge all of the City Council members, Mayor Pro Tem, Vince Williams, Rudy Breedlove, Keith Boone, Carlos Greer, Rod Sharos, Willie Taylor, and I want to acknowledge our District 1 Commissioner, Johnny Wilson. He's also in attendance. Any other elected officials need to be recognized? So we're here because we feel like governments work together when we have collaborative efforts. Cities and counties work together, we can have get a whole lot more done. This screen here shows our SPLOST projections for a 5-year program. So with the SPLOST referendum, we will have a 5-year program if we do not have an intergovernmental agreement with the cities. If we do have an intergovernmental agreement with the cities, we project our SPLOST collections to be $470 million. So we're here in efforts to collaborate with the city to see if we can have that 6-year deal for the $470 million. And just to recap some things we've had accomplished in SPLOST, we've had 68 dirt roads that we have paved through SPLOST funds. We've had 12 fire stations, 58 intersection improvements, including 10 roundabouts. We have 4 senior centers. We've had 272 miles of resurfacing. And that's a big number to me because I'm a transportation guy. 272 miles, you can leave here right now and go to Jekyll Island, where I think Bert Foster is right now. So at this time, I want to introduce Lynn Planchon. She's our Capital Projects Director, and she's going to go over some of the projects that we've accomplished and some of the successes we've had with capital projects.
Good evening. I'm Lynn Planchon. I'm the Capital Projects Director for Henry County. I'm really happy that you're here, and I'd like to tell you some of the projects that we have underway right now under SPLOST 5 that, regardless of the location, benefits really the entire county. So here shows our North Mount Carmel Recreation Center. If you're familiar with North Mount Carmel, it's known as the soccer complex. But we are building a beautiful state-of-the-art recreation center. It will have 2 indoor basketball courts. It will have a raised walking track upstairs. It will have a fitness area upstairs, yoga room. There's going to be several multi-use rooms that can be used for, as Park and Rec wants to program, as far as arts and crafts and music and dance and aerobics, and it's really sky's the limit. There's also a multi-use community room that's adjacent to a common concession stand. That's something new that we have not had really in our rec centers previously. So the concession facility will service when we have basketball games and such, but it'll also be available for use if you rent or use the multi-use room, the community room. The other project that is underway right now that will definitely benefit the entire county for those interested in swim is our new aquatic center. These are renderings of the aquatic center. It is underway. Not a lot to see right now. They're mass grading. They're doing a lot of sewer work. It's all stuff you can't really see right this minute, but they are working diligently to get this project to completion. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit longer project. It's a 2-year project where the rec center, I project, well, it is scheduled to be completed in February, but don't quote me, but I think they might finish early. They're actually doing quite well and they're ahead of schedule. So those are 2 pretty large capital projects for the community. The other item that's kind of not real close, but we also will have fire station number 5 under construction. That's in the Hampton area. Right now, they're actually working out of the airport right now, which I also manage the airport. So how many people knew we had an airport? Not that many. We actually have a general aviation airport. So, but this is another project that should be starting hopefully very, very soon. And so this list here is we've compiled a list of items that people have recommended. So we take people's, they'll come and tell us, hey, we would like this or we would like that. So not everything on the list may make the cut. We have a budget that we have to stay within. But some of the ideas, which I think the very first one I really like is I'm calling it an animal resource center. So our animal care and control is almost 20 years old. We need to get a little more state-of-the-art filtration systems that helps, with the air quality within the building and those types of things. And it's really small. It doesn't hold the number of animals that we would like to hold. So we are looking at a new animal resource center for SPLOST 6. The fire department has asked for some fire rescue facilities and equipment, and some of the examples of those are listed, obviously engines and ladder trucks and ambulances and such. So they have a need, and then they also want to be able to do some land acquisition for their facilities. We also have under senior services, either the replacement or renovation of the Hidden Valley Senior Center. That senior center is north of the county. It is very old, and it does need to be replaced or renovated, whichever the committee and the commissioners vote to do to improve that area. And then really under Parks and Recreation, that's more of a blanket. We should have listed, but it's more for Parks and Recreation. They want to, improve the fields, renovate existing concession buildings, do that type of work at multiple parks. So they're looking to do park improvements throughout the county. And I'm going to turn it back to Bert to go over some road transportation projects.
So one of the projects that we have slated to complete in a SPLOST 6 will be the Lester Mill Road at Bill Gardner intersection. Those are pictures of how it looks currently. You can see how the shoulders are kind of dilapidated, and we've probably gone in there a million times to try to patch the shoulders, and also I think an intersection improvement would be needed and warranted to also probably addition of some turn lanes, so that'll function a whole lot better. Some of the projects that we've talked about with City Manager Tim Young is the Peaksville Road at the Windmill Road intersection. That particular project falls within the county and the city. So that's one of the things that we've been talking about, working together to get designed and constructed. And also one of our bigger projects is Bill Gardner Parkway. We're gonna be widening that project from State Route 155 all the way to I-75. And we've been talking about having a collaboration where the city will help contribute to the cost of that project. So this tells you how to stay updated with SPLOST projects. You can go on to ClearGov. You can go on to the Henry County Board of Commissioners site. We update on a regular basis the status and the progression of our projects. Today, of course, we're in the city of Locust Grove, upcoming meetings. We have one more meeting Thursday in the city of McDonough, and we have a final committee meeting on June the 4th at the Henry County Administration Building.
All right, is there anybody that signed up for public comment? All right, we'll go ahead and take
I did.
all right.
I'm new to this. Tell me what I should do now.
Just give your feedback on some improvements that you would like to see around the county or in the city of Locust Grove.
Do I stand?
Sure.
I'm Paul Balloon. I just recently moved here about 3-4 years. And back to your comments. That's what y'all put up there is what you said that 385 million would contribute to building. It's apparent those are the same structures that have been going up all around this community. But we're not getting different results from the same things in this community. That's fine, that's great. People need more than exercise, more than somebody to call, more than a budget that doesn't directly affect them. I'd like a piece of $385 million to put in my community directly to help y'all, because if I help y'all, I would assume y'all help me. But we need things like nutrition, things that nurture the minds, so we don't need some of these facilities. Okay, but you got a budget that contributes to the building of things, yes? And there's facilities that can be built to accommodate what I just stated, yes? Definitely. Oh, it's strictly infrastructure? Well, that directly affects us all daily. And $385 million is a lot of money for some roads and some turn signals and some buildings. Now that's supposed to be beneficial to the people of the community directly, yes?
Absolutely.
But it doesn't feel that way. Because the people of the community are the ones that are dealing with the stuff before the meeting and after the meeting and while the meeting's going on. They have the complaints. They have the things that you aren't presented as maybe good or delightful. But the people need to be affected directly and not indirectly and none of that, man. I get the roads, I get that. But while you're doing the roads, people's lives are inconvenienced. The children's lives are inconvenienced. Families are inconvenienced. Your families are inconvenienced. You hear it from your family. I can't do nothing, baby, but have a meeting and let the people tell me what they feel. They've been telling you. We've been doing the same thing. Let's do something different to get a different outcome.
What's your suggestion that we?
How about let's build these roads to places that nurture us. Let's pave the roads that lead us to mental stability. Let's pave the roads to the children that don't have a road. That's it.
Okay, do we have any other public comments?
And to your point, sir, that's the reason why we have these meetings. We do want to hear from everyone. We want to hear your concerns and address all of these issues. So that's the reason we have the public meetings. At this time, I want to give City Manager Tim Young an opportunity to come up and give his remarks.
Speak down. For Henry County, well, for City of Locust Grove, SPLOST 6. We also kind of go through just a few of our projects that we proposed, and we're just wanting to help continue our success of past SPLOST. We do anticipate that we would like to enter into an agreement to go into the 6 years with the county and all the other cities. This SPLOST 6 would raise over $400 million, either around or a little bit under $400 million if it's 5 years, $470 million if it's 6 years. For the 6 years, that's required an intergovernmental agreement. It's 5 years by default without any agreement. It can only be used for capital costs such as roads, bridges, buildings, parks, vehicles, and equipment. It cannot cover maintenance or operations or programs. That stuff has to be funded through other sources, such as your general fund budget, and those sorts of things, grants, volunteer agencies, but it cannot be funded through a SPLOST. And it's important to think 30% or more of SPLOST comes from outside our region, comes from outside our jurisdiction. People who travel from, want to see grandma or Disney or that sort of thing. Population growth, just to kind of give you an update, we did get the census figures for estimates for 23 on Thursday. The Henry County is now 254,683. Stockbridge is 35,452. McDonough is 32,138. We are 11,199, and the city of Hampton is 9,162. The city of Locust Grove has been growing rapidly, as people know around this area, since the latter part of the teens of this century. We were growing upwards of 6 to almost 15% at one point. In this decade, we've been growing around 10% a year, a little bit over 9% now. This past year, we actually decreased remarkably. A lot of that is due to high interest rates and some settling down of this movement throughout our region in the post-pandemic economy. So we only grew about 4.5% this past year. But still, tremendous growth over a period of 3 years compared to other cities. That represents a change in population percent between 2010 and 2023. The cities now comprise almost 35% of the county, and the county has the remaining 65.5%. What does that mean for revenues? I mean, we estimated based on population that in a rosy scenario for 6 years, that the city would receive roughly 20.6 million in revenues over that period. There are other mechanisms but we could receive more, but we're in the process of going through that and reviewing those distributions. These will all be internalized in any kind of agreement that we will see, and that will be starting in June. In terms of capital items, we've been reviewing this through our city council meetings for several months now. We are proposing a little over $1 million for what I call capital items like buildings and vehicles. Some of that is to replace some of our aging fleet and release some of the tax burden on our general fund. A lot of it is doing phase 3 of our master plan here on our front lawn, to add additional parking and other items. Then we also have some parks and recreation facilities. Looking for areas we have parks and some more, starting a trail master plan, starting design or key pieces that we could add to start putting into our trail master plan. So just overall, just buildings and fleet equipment and parks items, $2.2 million. We have, in terms of streets, we have just set aside chunks of money for various items. One of them is for the State Route 42 highway widening. That is an agreement we entered into the county to do the design work with ARC, and so that's been allocated. We have the Bill Gardner upgrades, intersections, and safety and widening from I-75 to Northwest Mill. This handles lots of things in Bill Gardner. This handles our intersection at Tanger Boulevard. It handles any assistance we may need to give, other than beyond what we've already done with T-SPLOST for Bill Gardner. And then additional enhancements that we've already done along Bill Gardner Parkway in terms of medians or access control, trying to do some things along through that area. Then we have our State Route 42 congestion relief projects. This is a continuation of T-SPLOST for us, but it also incorporates other projects. Potentially, this would allows us to do different street connections to help grid out our city, to give more traffic, more options to go other than just one road or two roads. We also have potential to do a connector between Bethlehem Road and Calden Drive through part of our logistics and manufacturing area. And then that would help connect to the new Bethlehem Road interchange. We have some miscellaneous or other road projects along 42. Some of that would be along, like I said, 42 and Davis Road. It's dangerous, it's drop-offs. Issues with trying to reconnect Crosby Tanger and Indian Creek, and other streets trying to further that grid. And then we have our Peaksville Road multi-use bike ped, and connections. This is a continuation of our Peaksville Road to Francis Ford connector, which will be hopefully be under construction by the end of this year. Part of this will be adding pedestrian improvements. All the parts are going to be adding connections to other parts of Peaksville for pedestrians or enhancements of travel throughout to like Skyland or between areas along Peaksville Road to the city. All in total, that's about like $18 million. Then we had some lump sum for water and sewer improvements to help with our plant expansion, and that totals up to our adjusted balance, given the fact that we have a revised population figures of $20,616,000. And then just to also go through some of the accomplishments with SPLOST here in Locust Grove. GDOT just recently turned on Highway 42 and Bethlehem Road signal. That was a SPLOST 5 project. It was actually meant just for design at this point, so we're able to help get additional dollars from the state to get that actually built. Highway 42 and Marketplace signal. We just finished up, we're wrapping up the improvements to Bill Gardner at I-75, the medians there and the better access and control through there, the additional turning lane. This building itself was funded through SPLOST 3 and maybe SPLOST 4. The Locust Grove LGI building and the City Hall renovations that we've done recently was funded through SPLOST 4 and SPLOST 5. Municipal grounds improvements, we've done some improvements on our grounds here, SPLOST 4 and SPLOST 5, which part of that is going to be part of our Veterans Memorial. That's going to be having a groundbreaking or dedication on Memorial Day itself. We did resurface Tanger Boulevard, the section near the mall and going back towards Indian Creek back in 2016. We've since did a lot of our resurfacing through T-SPLOST and would like to try to incorporate whatever we can into future SPLOST and T-SPLOST. Our public works relocation was done to SPLOST 3. So we've done a lot to, the SPLOST over the time have done, a lot of things. We were like a low man of the totem pole for the longest time. We were the smallest city, and our revenues were not that great to do. We had to make $1 out of 15 cents, and so nowadays we're up to the point where we can realize some major improvements through SPLOST 6. It's approved for 6 years. Any questions for the city? Yes, sir.
Joe Stambaugh, I live out on Hosanna Road.
Mm-hmm.
Is this the type of money that can be utilized to fix Hosanna Road?
This could be used for that, but primarily our goals are, we understand that with Hosanna there needs to be some improvements through there, but we're probably going to be doing more of that through, but we're going to have to design it, because that road is, as you know, substandard. Yeah, so and so we're going to have to try to engineer it first. So we may put some money towards that, but we're hoping to do more work as needed in T-SPLOST, the reauthorization of T-SPLOST.
Okay, could you put that in other words for me, because I didn't really understand what you were saying.
Not now, but soon. We're probably we have to do some engineering first, so it's not easy. Just like we can't just go out there and pave it.
Right.
But we can do some engineering work on it to see what needs to be done and do the cost estimate, and then have it ready in time for when we have the T-SPLOST vote, which will come up in 25, 27? 26. Yeah. So we'll probably get it done. If we can't get it done now, we'll try to get it done in a couple of years.
Those of us who don't have four-wheel drives are not going to be able to drive on that road to get it home.
Well, I mean, like there's things that we can do to help, patch or whatever we can do until then, but we've got to engineer it first to find out what makes sense. We can't just throw down asphalt and have it wash away.
What about the construction that's going on with all the heavy equipment that's driving up and down Rosanna Road now?
Yeah, tearing it up pretty
Okay,
good.
well, I'll get our folks to address that, or development folks to address that, see if we can get some improvements because of that. Any work over there?
Thank you.
Anything else? Yes.
I'm Jennifer Bivens, with Bethlehem Road. So the question is, the SPLOST funds, have they been identified for part of the right of way that will be going in, since our building is right there on Bethlehem Road? We're a bit concerned about how much of our parking lot is going to be taken by that.
Well, that's all state.
Right.
That's all
So
state.
is
And
any
those,
SPLOST going in with you guys?
I'm sorry?
Is any funding from the
No,
city?
no. The only funding that was given to Bethlehem Road was to kick off the engineering,
Right.
where the county, the SPLOST 4 kicked in $5 million. We kicked in $1 million, not even out of SPLOST 5. We paid it right out of our checkbook for general fund,
Okay.
just to get it kick-started.
Okay.
So now it's a $232 million project. And just to update you, they are getting ready to wrap up environmental in their final concept. So they'll be coming out in early, like late winter, February-ish, for what's called a public open house.
Yeah.
And in between then, there may be contacts for right away even before then.
Okay.
So it's coming soon. Yes.
Mr. Bivens, earlier was talking about a joint project between the city and the county for, part of the road, is it, 216, from 216 to 155? The road improvements?
What about Peaksville Road?
No, it's like where the Locust is, to 75.
Oh yeah, that from Bill Gardner itself, from 155 over to back to the freeway. Yes.
So what part of that section is in the city on this road?
The section pretty much from the interchange up to the Lester Mill. The red line, the new red line.
Right, that's on, Bill Gardner, but I
Yes.
thought he was talking about, but was he also talking about 216 to 150?
No, that's a different project, and it's a state project. That's a whole different project that's getting underway, that the state is doing.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Council?
Aye.
Yeah.
Mentioned about dividing the Parkway from 155 to 75.
Yes.
I just want to know if they already have plans for getting around Woodland Cemetery.
I think
Yeah.
the plans,
Yeah, our current plan does call for us to avoid the cemetery.
Well, my concern is how much you're going to build the cemetery, because you have the little concrete there, but it's many, I was going to raise over that area, and it's many graves out further than that.
Well, we don't have the final plans, but we are in the early right-of-way acquisition phases. So a lot of those issues are still being worked out, but we do plan to avoid the cemetery altogether.
can you get us a copy of that section so he can
Yes.
look at it? We'll get your copy of the plans.
Okay, for the county. I see and I hear, majority of everything that I'm seeing that is done through the SPLOST dollars are, if it comes down to the south, is for, transportation, which is your roads and public safety. I'm all for that, but when I hear about the rec centers, the aquatic centers, all the things that are going on north of Henry County, it makes me feel some type of way, because I feel like sometimes we deserve some of those same things on the south end, and I feel like sometimes we're forgotten. So what does it take for Locust Grove or Hampton to get something on the south side so that our constituents don't have to travel up north?
I do know that, like in the example of the aquatic center, it was designed to be centrally located. So that's the reason it is being constructed where it is. So that's what they take into consideration with a lot of these.
I get that. Okay, but you know, when you talk about the Mount Carmel Rec Center, you talk about you had J.P. Mosley. I mean, we here. You know, as I told one of the local candidates 4 years ago, don't forget about us. We vote down here as well. So don't forget about us in these plans. I applaud my commissioner for spending the money on the roads that they spent. But again, we say Henry County is a place that we want to work, live, and play. And I personally feel like that play part is often taken out when it comes to us down here on the south end sometimes.
To add to that, I know one of you said that J.P. Mosley was just an example when you were listing the park. Nothing else, but J.P. Mosley is pretty new. We have the old church, and any of y'all been up at the workout area at the old church? It's dark, it's
Right.
hot, it's not inviting at all. That's not in the plans for this SPLOST, correct? Make improvements to that.
Well, that's why we're having these meetings, so we can hear from the citizens and the constituents to see what they desire, see what they need, and we can take all of these things to the committee when we have our final committee meeting to see what all we'll be constructing or building with a SPLOST 6 referendum. You have anything you want to add?
Lynn, excuse me, and I jumped on you a little bit. Let me thank you also for the project that is being proposed to help our citizens with the sub office down here. So thank you for that as well.
Absolutely. So to answer your question, a lot of times it has to do with the committee and the commissioner and what they choose to spend their money on. So I am sure that they have heard that you want a new rec center. I will also tell you, the recreation centers that used to cost $8 million are now $16 million. So unfortunately with the inflation, I know those numbers sound huge, like, oh, we're gonna collect around that $400 million. Sounds like it is an enormous amount of money. Unfortunately, just truth be told, we're not gonna be able to do as much today in this economy as we used to be able to do years ago. It's really unfortunate. It's shocking what the costs are. So I know previously when they purchased the gym, and we did do some renovations on that gym years ago, and I get that it does not compare to J.P. Mosley or what we're constructing. Well, J.P. Mosley's been there a while, but yeah, the North Mount Carmel will be new. There is, I hear you. I just want you to know I don't have control over what's chosen and what's selected. But there is a recreation center up in North Henry County in Fairview. There's one at J.P. Mosley. Ola Community would like one. I don't think there's one proposed out there. They're way east. So we'll take your feedback, and we'll add it to the recommended list. It's just there's just so much money to be able to try to spread it out.
From my perspective, it doesn't have to be new, it just needs to be improved.
Yeah, and we can certainly, like I said, there were renovations done to that. It may not seem like it, but a lot of work was put in with the basketball flooring, the special flooring in that building. We redid the track on the top. We redid several areas, the fitness area, but no, it's not the same as a new one. It's different.
And another thing, excuse me, what's the gentleman's name that spoke?
Mr. Greer?
Mr. Greer. You said live, work, and play, correct?
Correct.
It's apparent you're allowing your funds to go to living and working, because there's more things that will require the citizens to do and that entails work than it is to do recreational. And it's constantly being seen.
I will say a lot of the feedback that we receive is complaints about traffic. So a lot of the funding is applied towards trying to improve
This is a
traffic.
direct observation.
Yeah.
Because I've noticed people such as her struggle, freaking inconvenienced. Mind you, they done spent all this time. They ain't supposed to be sitting here inconvenienced as much as they are, much less us, the younger. But then to live here, has played here, wants to continue to play here, yet she only sees things that hinder that, and hear things that say, unfortunately. But you got to hear me. That's all. I don't want you to respond. It's fine. My voice is heard. That's why I'm here. Hers is too.
You're absolutely heard. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Now you're thinking of mine, because I'm gonna say that that old church is absolutely substandard for any kind of rec facility. It's not open long enough. They had yoga in there for years, and finally left. It was never there for me, in time for me to go. I never went once. You know, I think that, you know, we have Tanger here. Some of this is tax money. It's gotta be coming from Tanger, a lot of it. So why do we get ignored? I mean, what do we have to do? Do we have to go to meetings and show ourselves that we want something here? I mean, I raised my son here, he's gone. I mean, there's nothing here, maybe two Little League fields. It's still the same way. You know, when are we gonna get some of the tax money coming back this way?
Would this be a good time to introduce your commissioner? Commissioner Johnny Wilson. I hear you and I completely agree with everything you're saying. And all I can say for me is I'm the doer, I'm the worker bee to get done what I'm told to get done. I don't get to say, I'm not in a position to say we should do X. But this gentleman here will speak on that.
Good evening. So, repeat your question.
Well, basically, what do we have to do to get the tax money? This is tax money. You know, we pay taxes, this Tanger, people come from out of state or from wherever, pay the taxes, but it doesn't seem to get back here. I did a survey a couple months ago. It was like, well, how would you like these projects to go? So you put your opinion in, but it doesn't get anything down here. You know, yeah, I love a pool. I mean, I love an aquarium. It's still gonna be a half an hour drive for me, but it's closer than, you know, if they want to put it in Rex or wherever that is. But like, we're talking about the one rec center we have that used to be a church. Why is that the only thing in 25 years that I've lived here that's been built for us? Locust Road.
So in the SPLOST 5, we put all our funding in transportation because our roads were falling apart. And so we put $19.5 million into that. We paved over 25 miles of roads. We improved probably a couple of miles of road as well. Under SPLOST 6, we're gonna put a majority of our money into transportation, public safety, and I have made some suggestions about some parks and rec facilities as well. So when we get to finalizing the SPLOST 6 list, we'll see where we land with the parks and rec part of that.
When is that? When's
SPLOST 6, this is the meaning for SPLOST 6, this is what this is about. So but we'll have a meeting with the committee, and we'll compile all the information they've gathered over the last several months, and we'll see how we put that list together for District 1. So it's a little complicated because you gotta have property to put a rec center. We got the people out in Ola that want to put something out there as well. We heard from Councilman Greer about something here in the city of Locust Grove. Then we've also heard from the city of Hampton and the people that live between Locust Grove and Hampton about a rec center between the two. So we have to see how far we can stretch our money for those projects in the rec centers. So, but we'll meet with the committee at the finalization of it. Then we'll compile a list. So, any other questions?
Yes. How long have you been commissioner?
7.5 years.
What's the largest budget you had to manage since you've been commissioner for 7.5 years?
235 million.
And of that large budget for 7.5 years, what is the majority? Hold up. Who benefited first and foremost directly from the budget you managed for 7.5 years?
Public safety.
Who does the public safety? Who requires public safety?
Who requires it?
Yes.
The citizens require it.
Okay.
It's our duty to keep our citizens safe. And that's our number one priority.
Okay. Number one priority. Aren't there other ways you guys can feel safe besides a paved road? Besides inconvenience? Besides the constant complaints that you said you've been constantly complaining? Well, yes. I'm gonna answer, yeah. Okay, safety. I get the roads. Sounds like to me you're playing catch up.
Yeah, you could probably say that, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And we suffering. As citizens that require public safety that has the citizen safety at heart, yes?
So I think my public safety's done quite well in 7.5 years.
I haven't said the contrary, I'm just asking. We require it, yet we're here, so.
That's right, it's required.
Uh-huh.
And we have supported that throughout the last 7.5 years. We put in probably $10 million worth of equipment. We've opened up 4 or 5 fire stations. We've hired probably close to 100 firefighters and close to 50 police officers. So, yes. And we're a county of 250,000 people, which require all that.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's more than in here. More than in here. How y'all feel about what he said?
I think he's doing a great job.
I think you're doing a great job.
Because we are part of the community.
Always room for improvement. You can always second guess yourself. You can always find a better plan when you look 2020 in the past. But the reality is, in order to increase tax revenues, you've got to build roads. No one's going to go there if there's not a road. You've got to keep your roads maintained. So if the current plan is to make sure those roads are there so businesses open up, the future tax revenues can go towards it. So it's a balancing act. We've heard the planning committee talk about the cost of everything rising. So now they're trying to balance how they can build different things. That appeals to exactly some of the things that you said, which I think I absolutely agree with that are important for people's mental stability, for recreation and things like that. But if it gets more expensive, it's not their fault that it got more expensive. They have to cut back here and there. But if the county says their primary plan, their primary focus right now is roads, transportation, and public safety, then those lead to other things, and I've seen that in this community in Jonesboro, Clinton County, throughout the south side. When we moved here in the early 80s. And as those things have been built, as we've had better highways being built here, it all came up. And so I think it's a matter of coming to meetings like this, establishing what you want and how to go about it. Maybe shifting the funds that are there, adding on to a rec center with some things that you like. But to just kind of vilify with a vague question, and I found it vague. I didn't understand. I didn't think it was clear enough or succinct enough to say, are we happy with this? I can tell you I'm not happy with everything. I don't like commercials in the middle of sports. Am I happy with it? It's not going to do it. It won't move the needle forward. And that's where I want you to say, come back and see if you can push a recreational center towards, well, is there a garden center there? Is there a town? Because the money's there, the garden center, they haven't built it yet. Maybe you can pre-sign it. But some of the things, like I said, a lot of people are very satisfied with the commissioner. I think he's doing a great job. I appreciate the help that the fire council did for us with the animal shelter that we work with.
And I want to thank you for at least just letting me talk.
I appreciate
25 years, thank you for 25 years. How you feel?
It's growth. And
I'm sorry.
To me, yeah, I mean, I would just like a rec center. I mean, when I first moved here, there was almost nothing. I remember putting my son into, what do you call it, for the summer at school, there was no air conditioning, there was no
Well, Commissioner, we're gonna do better.
Absolutely.
We're gonna do better. Thank you, Mr.
Yes,
Commissioner.
sir. Anyone else got a question?
Yeah, I'll make a comment on John. Lesterville Road was widened already once. It was very narrow, it was a country road. A school bus, you would have to move over. That was just done not too long ago, thanks to John. Lesterville Road was a dirt road. I liked it. I didn't have to, I could get out of my driveway. Now it's I-75, every everybody's doing 80. But thanks for getting it paved twice. They paved it, Johnny come looked at it and said they didn't do it to standard. He made them come out and put 4 more inches on it because of the truck. Thank you, Johnny, for catching that. Most commissioners don't catch it. So, yeah. Now I live in the city. I was in the country. Welcome to the country.
Commissioner Wilson,
I'm sorry, Commissioner.
real quick, Mr. Brown. To the gentleman, he asked a question. He said, "Are you playing catch up? Are we playing catch up?" My answer would be yes.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that, one of the problems that we're experiencing in Henry County now, I've been here since 1993. Henry County, years ago, everybody knew everybody, right? And when everyone knows everyone, we tend to want to keep things the way that they are, right? And so in that keeping things the way they are, I think the growth was expected, but no one really wanted to plan for it. We can't blame the current administrations for failures that we absorbed years ago. So only thing the only thing we can do now is try to do the best that we can with what we have. And again, I'll say Commissioner Wilson has done it as it relates to our roads. I mean, there was a time I could get from my house to the interstate in less than 5 minutes. That's not happening anymore. Am I happy with it? No, I'm not. But I understand that with the growth, these things come. I understand that if I want these rec facilities, if I want all these amenities in my county, in my city, these are some of the negative impacts that I'm going to have to deal with, and that's the traffic. And we're going to have to sit down and have these hard conversations about our SPLOST dollars, where they go and which direction we put them. And thank God we can have some people in office now who I feel are smart enough and open enough to negotiate and see what they feel is best for the county.
Thank you. I think we have one more.
Yeah, 2 more. Yes, and I just wanted to echo what this gentleman here said, and also what Councilmember Collins just said. We have to be proactive in this adventure that we're going on, because we don't know where it's going or how it's going to end. But we do know that more people are going to come here, and if we're not prepared for that, the problems that we've had in the past when people didn't take that into consideration, then we're going to be in the same spot that we're in now. Overcrowded, no activities for our kids, and we talk about having them have activities so they don't get into trouble. And so we do need those rec centers. We do need those roads so that they can be able to get to and from work, to and from school, or wherever they're going to and from taking care of an elderly parent. So we need to be proactive in doing those things, because this will make the quality of life in Henry County a much better place to live. I know I grew up in Orlando. I've only been here in Henry County for 20 years. But I grew up in Orlando, and I watched how the leadership there, they prepared for a lot of things. You know, I used to drive out into areas where there were nothing but woods and farmland and just everywhere. And all of a sudden I started seeing 4-lane roads out there and lights, but there's nothing there. But then, lo and behold, you start seeing buildings going up. You start seeing schools being open. And so they were proactive in putting the infrastructure into place so it wouldn't impact the community so much, which is what's happening here. We're constantly doing things, but at the same time, we're not expanding our footprint as far as the roads and the necessary amenities that people are looking for in their community. Thank you very much. And I appreciate your service, sir.
Thank you.
Just going toward some of the tax dollars, talk about corporations coming here and the work area. Are they contributing to the tax base instead instead of it just being a SPLOST funding, are these large logistics companies, are they contributing to the tax base here? Are the corporate apartments that are being built, are they contributing besides the residents that are there? Are the corporation or incorporates contributing?
They do, but I can't tell you the amount because that's not, that's going to be somewhere out of our tax office to tell you exactly how they're collecting that, so, but they do contribute, absolutely.
Does it trickle down enough to paper roads? I hate to age myself, but I remember the community that my parents brought me up in. They purchased a house, it was a new subdivision, back in the 60s, early 60s. But those same tax dollars built the schools, they built the roads. The local community, anything that came there, they added to that community.
Just to give you an indication, we have a development going in right now, Anderson, Renewal by Anderson is National Manufacturing Facility, it's $420 million. It's the largest single investment in Henry County to date. They formed a community improvement district, and they're actually realigning and paving Price Road and putting in the infrastructure for that development. There's also going to be other buildings as well, some more other logistics facilities will go in there. So they're actually paying as they go through this. They also pay property tax. Apartments pay property tax. Everyone pays property tax. They also pay impact fees. Houses pay impact fees. Everybody pays an impact fee. We charge a transportation impact fee. I don't know if you all.
We do, absolutely.
And we're updating our fees so that they do pay an impact to their process. So.
And I think that sometimes a city might lower the taxes or give land just to bring corporations in for jobs. Yeah, the employee will pay, their taxes, but does that company that is profiting more?
There are some tax abatements, but there's not 100% tax abatement here. You're talking about incentivizing.
Yes.
There may be incentives here, but the Henry County, the Development Authority has a policy that they don't do any more than 50%.
Yeah, there has to be a positive tax.
Yes, it has to be positive.
Absolutely.
The tax, there's not even whether it's like they're giving it away that you just go and there are incentives for large projects that bring a lot of money.
And who do those incentives benefit? You say sometimes?
Sometimes, because they have different municipalities that, say for instance, the Target distribution that's coming to Hampton, the deal that they strike was to give they have to give the employees, they have to give the city 1,500 employees, and then they get a tax break for giving them 1,500 employees jobs.
So their incentive is based off of the citizens.
So you ask who does it benefit? Sometimes it does benefit the citizens.
But to go back to your thing, they pay taxes. They do pay their flat.
Mr. Young, could you tell me how much you possibly say there?
Like I said, the one that we have is actually paving a road, realigning it, doing it for.
Yeah, but if you go on 42, there's new buildings constantly.
Well, yeah, I mean, we can talk about this. I mean, this is a growth principle. It's a lot in Georgia.
Any other questions?
I know there's people here that lived here longer than me, but I've lived here 33 years. And, back when there was no red lights, no nothing here. But, one of our district commissioners right now is having a lot of town hall meetings. That's probably because she's running for county commissioner. But way before you, I don't think I've ever had seen publicized a town hall meeting for our district. I appreciate that this meeting has morphed from public comment to some dialogue, but a town hall meeting would be a good opportunity for the people in your district to provide their feedback and have two-way dialogue. Is that something that you do and I'm just not aware of it?
Yes, ma'am, we probably had 4 in the last year, 2 years, 4, maybe 5. Yes, we don't do them on a quarterly basis by no means. They publicized, I'll let Melissa tell you a little bit about how they put out the information about town hall. She can address that for you, but it's over the county websites and the social media. So I'll let her talk more about that.
That's such a great question. So anytime we have any public meetings, town halls for commissioners or board of commissioner meetings, they're always advertised on our Facebook platform, on our social media, Instagram, also on our website, also we put out press releases for the paper. The BOC meetings there's a legal ad that goes out for them. But town halls, we really do try to push, because the idea of a town hall is to get people out to have these conversations. It's not a town hall if nobody shows up. So look for that. Definitely Commissioner Wilson will reach out to different partners in the area to try to spread that news, but it's always going to be on our social media platform, on our website. You can certainly call and say, is there anything planned? And we're happy to answer that. So we want to always be very responsive to our residents, for sure. So we do put it out there, and if you have any questions about that, you certainly can call my office and we can help you with that.
Commissioner Wilson, Commissioner up here. Approximately what percentage of this number that we're talking about will District 1 be entitled to? Of the funds that are collected in SPLOST 6?
Repeat your question.
Of the total funds, will District 1?
We won't know that yet. How they're gonna divide up the funding for the districts and capital? Y'all hadn't come up with have y'all come up with?
I've heard. Is it gonna be based on population, like the cities?
I'm not sure.
So they've got a set of agreement between county and cities, and then within the cities, it's based on population.
Okay.
So with the county's part, I'm not sure what percentages from the county's part is gonna go to capital and what's gonna go to the districts. So they hadn't passed that.
So is there a capital project out there that will affect us?
So the last time we had, I don't know, percentage wise, we had around $20 million per district on a 5-year program.
So my point is that this is gonna trickle down to our district. It comes to the cities. We've got, and that's what Ken went over for us. But your district's gonna have the same kind, you're gonna have projects in your district.
Right, yes.
Recreation, transportation, all of those things.
Absolutely.
You're gonna have them.
Absolutely.
Right, okay.
But now my district now is 110 square miles, so when we talking about, you know, if you go and divide it up equally in 5 districts, well, I'm on 1/3 my district, 1/3 of the county. So we talking about improving roads and that time. I got more dirt roads than anybody in the county, so it's kind of a little difficult for me to say that we're gonna put a percentage toward roads, because we got a lot of roads that need to be improved. I mean, if you say I'm gonna put 20% toward a road, that might just do 2 dirt roads. But I think I have like 20 more left. So we're a little bit different situation. We've got more roads, more unimproved roads, and we're 110 square miles. So we have to stretch it out to public safety, transportation, and recreation. And we just have to get the best bang for our buck. And that's when it comes to partnering up with the cities, we get the better bang for our buck because we get a 50% off sale, right? That's the way I look at it anyway. So, but I wish I could help you out with percentages, but we won't know that until everything's divided and passed down.
That'll be before the election.
Ma'am?
We'll know those percentages before we know.
The committee will know that probably on your final meeting. Is that when y'all know that?
Possibly. I mean, there's a chance it won't be 100% by then, but we should have a better idea.
Okay.
At that final meeting.
But yes, we'll know it before it's on the ballot in November.
To piggyback that question and that comment, I think for us looking at it as a big picture, we're looking at this massive number of $470 million. But when you actually realize that here in Locust Grove, we will only get about 25 to 26 million of that for what we need here in the city. But then, and as Mr. Rob was asking you, what percentage of the 294 million that the county gets do we actually get here in District 1? And I know you don't know the answer, but I'm saying for all of us to really understand that that's what we're working with. We in Locust Grove are not working with a $500 million budget. We in Locust Grove are working with 50 to 60 million maybe. Right. And so I think, and then like Ms. Lynn said, to build a recreation center, which we do need, and I've been saying if you grew up here as a kid too, like it's $16 to $20 million. Well, that's a third of the budget we have for everything we need in Locust Grove. The roads, the buildings, like everything. We need it, but we're on the priority list as that fall. And so I think that's more where this question was coming from, because I had the same question too. Like, what's the pool of the piggy bank we're really working with? So that's one.
So, yeah, we'll know more about that in a month or so, I would think. Hopefully. Okay, thank you.
And if I could say just a few quick things. I don't want to date myself, but I've been on council quite some time. I've sat through all 5 SPLOSTs. What you see out here and what little we do have, we've worked for. This council members, mayors that are no longer here have worked hard, and I'd like to thank Johnny and the staff, and especially our staff. We got one of the finest staff that goes to bat for us. Tim, our attorney, everybody. And I'd just like to tell y'all thank you. Also, we've always had meetings for the SPLOST committees when we was going to try to have one. Well, a lot of things have changed throughout the years about putting it out on social media. We didn't know what social media was. SPLOST 1, okay? I'm serious. And all the money trickles down. Henry County, they get the majority of the money. Then it comes down to Stockbridge, McDonough. It used to be Hampton, then us. Well, now we've moved up above Hampton, but I have a different outlook on the whole thing, because when you got cities such as Stockbridge, and I can't blame them, I mean, they got the amphitheater up there. Well, they're looking for projects to do. We need projects. And I just wish there was a more fair way to split the money up than buy that. But yeah, like Johnny Wilson here mentioned, the last SPLOST, everything went toward transportation. Yes, we're playing catch up, because when we don't get, you're at the bottom of the heap, you have to deal with what you got. And I think we've done tremendous amount of improvements over the years. And I like to say, we do not have a city tax, and have done what we do without a city tax. So, and my question to the committee here, you say it's 4-lane from 155 to the interstate, from 155 to the interstate, 4-lane?
Yes.
All right, now, and you want the city to help out, but say if we don't, y'all just bring it on through anyway. Okay? I'm just saying. But that's all I got to say. Thank y'all. Appreciate our staff too.
I'm gonna turn this over here to the committee soon, but I wanted to mention one more thing. The SPLOST collections also allow us to acquire funding from outside sources like the ARC, federal funding. A lot of times they require us to have a match, a local match. And so if a project costs, for example, $1 million and they require us to make a 20% match, we pay $200,000 and they give us the other $800,000. So the SPLOST dollars can be used to meet the local match that allows us to bring in more federal funds and ARC funds and the OMIG funds. So at this time, I'll turn it over to the committee.
I got a question for Tim. In the figures that you had given for the widening projects, does that include right-of-way and utility relocation? Is that pretty much a...
It's just a set amount for everything. So we typically are going to do like what you're all doing. Is part of that's going to go toward projects we haven't engineered yet. these projects. Like I said, the light at Bethlehem Road, we only had 200,000 allocated for it. We only spent 100,000 because the GDOT did the rest of it for us.
Okay.
So we're trying to, we're gonna do the same thing, but there are other projects that we do have, full design, that sort of thing on, but those other ones, we're gonna follow that process. Some are gonna be easy, like low fruit thing we could do every day. But a lot of them are not. They're gonna be more complex as we get larger.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody else have any comments from the committee?
One of us had to say it. It's very important that we get the intergovernmental agreements so that we can have the 6-year collections, so that the potential's there, there'll be more money for you guys. I've written down your request for a rec center. The committee will consider. No guarantees. But one thing we know for sure, Henry County's growing. If we do not vote in November to add SPLOST, none of this gets done. None of it. So I would encourage everyone to go home, talk to your family and friends in this county, and please vote yes in November for the SPLOST collection. Thank you.
Just to clarify, it will not be a new tax or a new penny. It'll be a continuation of the program that's already been in place. So I just wanted to clarify that.
All right, so we will do an approval on the minutes from March 28th, 2024. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes? Second. All right, so we have future meetings, May 23rd, 6 p.m. City of McDonough, June 4th, 6:30 p.m. at the Henry County Admin Building. And that'll be the last 2 meetings. And thank you all for showing up and giving your opinion. This is a work in progress, so we value your opinion. We're, coming up with these things as people are telling us. So, it's important for everyone to speak up at these and give us recommendations. And with that, meeting adjourned.
Can I ask one more quick question before we go there? Now, in order to get these things, we need to approve this SPLOST. But if it don't go through and we still need those things, how would we get the money to do that? You raise property taxes, correct?
Right.
The millage rate.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep. Yeah, that's right. The project list is going to be there whether we, pass the SPLOST or not. So if we pass the SPLOST, people who are visiting the county, tourists, are going to contribute to it as well. If we don't pass it, it's going to be basically in the residents' taxes.
And that would be political suicide for anybody to run for office, so, to raise millage rate and taxes.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a question?
The gentleman made the statement that it's not a new tax, it's just a continuation. That needs to be highly advertised. Because a lot of people think it's a new tax. That's
One more thing. Have you thought about what happens if it's not approved?
Historically, it gets approved.
Okay, let's change history. What happens if it's not approved?
It's gonna get approved. It's gonna get approved. We need this stuff. We all do. As county residents, we need this stuff.
I agree with you, but...
And it should be on the backs of people driving and stopping at every exit through this entire stretch from way up 75 past Locust Grove. Every one of these exits is revenue bearing, and 222 is growing exponentially.
What happens if it doesn't come to pass?
It's historic.
What's
All right.
planned if it hasn't? That's all.
The
I'm
city
asking.
council's got other business they got to handle, so we have a section for public comment. If you'd like to come to the next meeting and speak a little more, feel free. We'd love to hear your feedback, but as of now, we got to adjourn the meeting.